Ah, you came back. Perfect. Curiosity is a virtue, deadly charming. I am Mr. Midnight, and this is my home. Sit down, make yourself comfortable, but not too much. Ain't sure what made me sit down and write all this. Maybe I just needed to let it out, get it out of my chest before it eats me alive. Maybe I'm hoping that saying it out loud or close enough will make it feel real. Like it ain't just something I dreamed up in a fever. But if I'm being honest, I think I just don't want to be the only one who knows. Even if nobody listens. Name's Jimmy. I'm 17. What I'm gonna tell you happened last summer, when I was 16. I still live, really in a tiny-ass town tucked in the middle of the Appalachians. One of them places where everybody's got a weird story, but no one really talks about it. You know those legends the internet folks like to make sound poetic? Cursed mountains, voices in the woods, folks that ain't quite folks? Yeah, grew up hearing all that like it was family gossip. Never gave it much thought. Folks always exaggerate, right? I was born here. Nothing ever happened to me. Never believed in none of that crap. Until that summer. I grew up with just my mum and my grandma. Just the three of us. Never met my dad, never even seen a picture of him. Ask about him, and you'd get nothing. Mum just say he don't matter. And Grandma would swat at the air like I was a fly and change the subject. Too curious, that boy, she'd say, shaking her head. They say my mom got pregnant her senior year. She was 17, almost 18, dropped out of school. Not that anyone around here saw it as strange, honestly. It's hard to shock folks in this place. But the way she avoids anything about the past always felt off. Like something was buried deep, not forgotten, hidden. She works as a secretary at a little real estate office, pays the bills. My grandma, well, she never worked, not even back when I was little. Always at home, watching crime shows and making meat pies like it was some kind of holy ritual. Every week she'd go to Mallory's, the game shop in town. Old man looks like he crawled out of a horror story. Missing a finger, got one lazy eye, and smells like raw meat even through his apron. She'd buy deer, rabbit, turkey. The deer pies were my favorite, had a strong taste, almost metallic. Kinda weird, I guess. But it was just life. And somehow I thought it was normal. At school I wasn't popular, but I wasn't a loser either. Got along better with the older guys. They were funnier, bolder, more real, I guess. The older girls, way hotter. More interesting. Okay, yeah, mostly just hotter, sue me. I was a horny teenage idiot with too much time to fantasize. Among the older crowd, the top dog was Dean. Tall, good-looking, rich. Always driving his daddy's truck, throwing the best parties. Always telling some wild-ass story that made folks laugh or squirm. He had that weird charm, kinda cruel, that made you want to hang around even though you knew he was a dick. His folks had a big house in town, and a cabin up in the mountains. Secluded, old, but it had a fireplace, a generator, and one hell of a view. It was the family's weekend escape, as they called it. One Friday, start of summer, Dean said his parents were letting him use the place to celebrate his 18th. Said it was gonna be epic. Only the cool kids invited. And me. I got invited. Only freshmen who did. When I heard, My chest damn near exploded. Not just because it was Dean's party, but because Sarah was going to be there. Sarah from senior year, prettiest girl in school. I was low-key obsessed. One time she said I was cute. That was all I needed to build a whole damn love story in my head. I told my mom, thinking she'd be proud or at least happy for me. She froze. "You're not going," she said. Just like that. A bunch of teenagers alone in the woods? No way, Jimmy. I was in shock. Ran to my grandma. She usually helped talk Mom down. But this time, she just lowered the television, looked over her glasses and said, "It's summer solstice." "So?" I asked, already getting annoyed. "Ain't a good time to be in the woods," she said, like that explained anything. "Even with the long days, the night creeps in faster. Not by the clock, but in the trees. That light fools the eyes. That's when things come out." I laughed. What? She trying to scare me with werewolf stories now? Come on, Grandma. We're staying in a cabin, not running around the forest naked, dancing round a fire. She didn't laugh. She just looked at my mom. They gave each other that look again. The one like they were speaking in a language only they knew. I snapped. "It's Dean's 18th birthday, Mom. I can't miss this." She went still. Like, weird still. Her face emptied for a couple seconds. Then she forced a smile. "All right," she said, "but only if you eat all your grandma's venison pie, sweetheart." That week at school, the buzz was non-stop. All anyone talked about was Dean's party. Who was bringing beer, who had weed, who was gonna hook up. Saturday morning, early, Dean's dad pulled up outside my house in his black SUV. I kissed my mom's cheek and hugged my grandma. She held on longer than usual. Looked me dead in the eye. "If something calls your name out there," she said, "don't answer. Even if it sounds like me or your mum." I laughed. Thought it was just her being dramatic again. "Okay, Grandma." But right then, my stomach twisted. Real sharp. Like it knew. Knew that wasn't just some old lady nonsense. That was a warning. A real one. And that's how I climbed into that SUV, grinning like a damn fool, thinking I was heading to the best party of the year. Had no clue. I was riding straight into the beginning of the end. The drive took about 2 hours, but felt way longer. The road that cut through the mountains was all twisted up sharp turns, no lights, trees bending in close like they were trying to peek in through the windows. Nobody talked much. Just Dean cracking dumb jokes from the front seat, while his dad drove with that quiet kind of focus. I was crammed in the back, squished between backpacks, a cooler, and half a bench seat that barely counted as a seat at all. But I didn't care. I was going. I'd been invited. That's all that mattered. Once we got off the pavement and onto a dirt road, the whole feel of the ride changed. I could feel it in my bones, that hum of tires on gravel, like we were leaving behind the real world. Then I saw the cabin. I say cabin, but it looked more like one of those fancy European chalets you see in old movies. 2 stories, big-ass windows, a porch with hammocks swinging slow in the breeze. Whole thing built out of dark wood and gray stone. Rustic, yeah, but you could tell it cost a fortune. There was even a solar panel on the roof. Out back was this big clearing that opened up to a mountain view, and right there a heated pool, steam rising lazy into the cold morning air. Across from that a stone fire pit with heavy wood benches around it. Whole setup looked unreal, and it was dead quiet. The SUV rolled to a stop out front. Dean hopped out like he owned the damn place and unlocked the front door with this big-ass keychain that jangled like hell. His dad got out and immediately started barking orders. Bathrooms downstairs, 2 bedrooms up top. Main room's got a central fireplace. Everything's working. Towels in the hall closet. Mini fridge is stocked, but don't be dumb and blow through it all in one night. He walked fast, pointing at doors, flipping switches, opening cabinets like he was given a damn military tour. We all nodded like idiots, trying to look like we were listening. I couldn't stop staring at the place. It wasn't a mansion, but it was fancy as hell, spotless, cozy. Solid wood furniture, thick rugs, lamps glowing warm amber, that smell of lavender and wood smoke mixing in the air. While the others ran upstairs to claim beds, I wandered to the back of the house. Something about the pool drew me in. The glass door was a little fogged up, but I could still see clear enough. Hot water, bubbling under the sunlight. The woods just beyond the fence, way too still. That's when I heard it. The first bark. 2 giant-ass dogs came out of nowhere from behind the fire pit. I swear my heart near stopped. They were massive, fluffy as hell. One was black with these weird amber eyes, and the other was gray with a spotted snout. No clue what breeds they were. Looked like someone bred a bear with a wolf. They charged the glass, barking their heads off. I jumped back so hard I almost tripped over the rug. "Chill out, man," Dean said behind me, laughing. "Those are my dad's dogs. Loud as shit, but they won't bite." I muttered a quiet "fuck you" and tried to catch my breath. "They stay out till sundown," his dad said, showing up behind us like he'd teleported. "Then you lock 'em in the laundry room and make sure they get fed. No excuses." He looked straight at Dean. "New drugs. New dumb shit in my house. Got it?" Dean raised his hands. "Relax, old man. We're just gonna get drunk and skinny dip." His dad didn't laugh. "I ain't joking, Dean. You know what I mean." Then came that weird moment. The kind of moment that don't seem like much but sticks in your ribs anyway. His dad pulled him aside near the bookshelf. Voice changed. Got low. Serious. I couldn't hear what was said, but I saw Dean stop smiling. That was enough to feel wrong. He looked, still, nodded once. No jokes. Then the old man pulled something small out of his jacket pocket. I couldn't see what it was, but looking back now, that was the moment I should have paid more attention. But I didn't, 'cause Sarah had just come down the stairs. And, man, she'd changed clothes. Short-ass denim shorts, tight shirt clinging in all the right places, looking worn but perfect. Her hair was up in this messy kind of way that definitely wasn't accidental. My brain short-circuited for a second. By the time I looked back, Dean and his dad had finished talking. The old man gave us one last look and shouted, "You'll behave. I'll be back tomorrow before lunch." And then he left. Just like that. The SUV disappeared down the dirt road. The sound of the tires faded slow, swallowed by the woods. For a second, nobody said nothing. Just this weird kind of silence, thick and full of possibility. Dean moved first. Took a quick look back, like he wanted to make sure his dad was really gone. Waited a beat, longer. Then he popped open the travel cooler, pulled out a line of beer cans, smacking them with his palm to knock the fizz down or maybe just to look cool. Then he reached under some folded clothes in a backpack and pulled out a plastic bag. Weed. Didn't even try to hide it. Said now the party could really start. Everybody laughed, still a little stiff, like we were all half expecting Dean's dad to roll back up yelling, "Gotcha, dumbasses!" But he didn't. No one came. That sense of freedom dropped over us like a too warm blanket. And the party was on. Maggie, the other girl in the group, red hair, ripped shorts, smart-ass attitude like a razor, grabbed the Bluetooth speaker from the shelf and turned on some music. In seconds, the living room filled with deep bass, not the upbeat kind of music. One of those echoey trance songs, heavy beat, and a girl singing like she was stuck in a damn cave. Dean grabbed the two dogs and walked them out back to the fenced area. Thick mesh gate, iron latch, separated from the pool by a wooden fence. The gate creaked loud, but the barks from the dogs covered it up. They clearly weren't happy about being locked up. I watched from the porch while he closed them in. The dogs didn't stop staring at him. One paced back and forth, anxious. The other just sat there, still, staring. When Dean finally locked the gate, that second dog turned and faced the tree line. Didn't move. Just stared out of the woods like it smelled something we couldn't. Dean came back inside laughing. One last thing to worry about. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Sarah stepped up beside me on the porch and did the same. "I thought they were gonna be loose out here," she said, arms crossed. "Was almost ready to skip the pool." "No shit," I answered. "I don't trust anything that stares like that." She laughed, and it did something to me. Warmed up my guts and twisted them at the same time. Inside, Maggie turned the music up. Dean had a beer open already. Jason and Aaron, the other two dudes, were arguing about who'd get which bed. It felt like the night was starting to spread out around us, like melting wax. Outside, the sky was still light, but not real daylight. That weird heavy light you get on the solstice. The kind that lies to your eyes. Looks like day, but your bones know it's almost night. Inside, the kitchen was chaos. Dean and Aaron were unpacking the coolers, stuffing the fridge with beers and soda cans. Jason was taking snack bags out and organizing them in the cabinets like his life depended on it. "Gotta color code these, man. Aesthetics everything," he said, dead serious. Sarah opened a cupboard and found a bunch of hand-painted ceramic mugs. Laughed and said it looked like a grandma's house. "Pretty much is," Dean replied. "I think the lady who used to own this place died here. Or went missing. Whatever. My dad bought it off some weird-ass family." He said it with a grin, but I wasn't sure he was joking. I got put in charge of the meat and perishables, like Maggie said, acting like she was head chef or some shit. There was sausage, burgers, cheese, some vacuum-sealed cuts, and a pack of frozen mini pies no one admitted bringing. All normal stuff. Till I pulled out this one big freezer bag. Dark meat. Stringy. Looked like wild game, but there wasn't no label. "What the hell is this?" I asked, holding the plastic bag up to the light. "No clue," Jason said. "Pretty sure it's venison. Or elk. My dad hunts sometimes. Just grabbed it from the freezer." "There ain't no elk around here, dumbass," Maggie chimed in. "Then deer. Whatever. It's meat. It goes on the grill." Everybody went back to what they were doing. Except me. I opened the bag. Didn't smell bad. Just strong. Earthy. Metallic. A little sour. But to me, it smelled right. Familiar. Same exact smell as my grandma's deer pie. Without even thinking, I pulled a chunk out and brought it to the sink. "Yo, Jimmy, what are you doing?" Dean asked, not looking up. "Just cleaning this part. Got residue. Makes it taste bitter if you leave it." I grabbed a knife from the drawer, started slicing away the darker bits with care, just like Grandma taught me, pulling nerve from muscle, separating the chewy bits from the good stuff. "For real," Maggie said. "You know how to cut meat like that?" "Yeah, I do." I meant it. I'd been doing that shit since I was little, every week. Washing, scraping, cleaning. Sometimes she'd let me season it too. She always said, "Don't throw nothing away till you know it's cold inside." Still don't know what the hell that means. But she said it, so I said it too. When I was done, I let the water drain and left the meat sitting in the strainer over the sink. Everyone was watching me. Sarah gave this awkward lil smile. "You cook a lot, huh?" "Yeah, kinda like. Tradition at my place. Every week there's deer pie, or rabbit, or wild turkey. I can tell what's what by the smell." Sarah didn't say nothing back. She just stared at the meat in the sink. It was dripping slow. Water was red. But I swear to God, to me, it all felt like just another normal Saturday. Night fell all at once, like for real. We were still in the pool when it went dark. No pretty sunset, no orange sky, just bam, lights out. Water was still warm. Steam was rising real slow. Everything felt kinda quiet, except for the music and Maggie laughing her damn head off. We'd been drinking a lot, can't remember how much, but enough to make my head feel light. Dean brought some weed too. He always had something tucked away. Sarah was swimming near me. Tight bikini. I tried not to look. Swear to God I did. But I looked too long, and she caught me. I looked away quick, but she laughed. Didn't call me a creep. Didn't make a face. Just laughed. Like she was saying, "Gotcha." I wanted to sink under the damn water. Steam was making me dizzy in a good way. We stayed in too long. My fingers were all pruny and the pool light was flickering sometimes, but nobody cared. When we finally got out, the cold hit hard. Porch boards felt like ice. Dean was already trying to get a fire going in that ground pit. Had some big-ass logs and his lighter ready. I grabbed 2 towels, one for me, one for Sarah. She was huddled up tight. We sat down by the fire, on them wooden benches around the pit. The heat felt nice, damp and heavy with the smell of wet wood. Maggie showed up and tried to plop down on Dean's lap, but Aaron was already sitting close to him. She just laughed and squeezed between the two like it was nothing. Weird vibe, but nobody said shit. Sarah sat next to me, real close. I could smell her shampoo. We just stared at the flames a while. No one spoke. Way off in the dark, we could hear the dog still growling in the pen. Then Sarah suddenly goes, "Let's play the dumbest cliché game ever." Dean lifted his head. "Strip poker?" She laughed. "Truth or dare?" Everyone groaned. Then everyone went, "Fine, whatever." Somebody always brings that game up. Always. But that night felt worse somehow. It started dumb. Dean made Aaron kiss a fence post. Jason had to say how many times he jerked off that year. Maggie said she'd banged 2 people in the circle. No one asked who. Sarah laughed. My turn didn't come for a while. I just watched. Tried to look chill. but my brain was stuck on the towel Sarah had used. Still on my lap, still warm. Next round, she ran her fingers through her wet hair and said it felt nasty from the chlorine. And I, like a dumbass, said, "I can wash it for you." Whole circle stopped. Dead quiet. Sarah looked at me, one brow up, didn't laugh, just looked confused. Dean busted out first. "Dude, wow, that's gotta be the worst pickup line of the century. Wash your hair, really?" "It ain't a pickup line, Jesus," I snapped. "Just being polite. I wash my mum's hair all the time." Silence again. Jason started giggling and then couldn't stop. "What, a freak? Your mum wash your lil dick too?" Maggie lost it. Dean slapped his knee. Sarah didn't laugh. She kept looking at me, not mad, just unsettled. I was gonna say something. Tell Jason to fuck off. Explain it wasn't weird, it was just how things were at my house. Just care. Just, I don't know. But then the sound came. From the woods. Didn't sound alive. Or maybe it did, just wrong. It was like a voice trying to come out, but clogged with water and leaves. Like somebody trying to mimic human speech and fucking it up bad. Not loud, but deep, wet, cracked in places. Slid through the night and hit the back of my skull like a cold nail. We all froze. Music was still playing, but it felt far away. The fire cracked soft, but even that seemed off. Like the wind itself had stopped to listen. We stayed like that, still, waiting, hoping it was over. Then Maggie whispered, "What the hell was that?" Nobody laughed. Then it came again, closer now, wet and stuttering, like something trying to talk or moan, like an animal, but not one I ever heard. Sarah stood up fast. Said she was going inside, that she wasn't feeling this. And I got it. I wasn't feeling it either. Dean tried to act cool, said it was probably a coyote, said they made weird noises sometimes, said they don't like light. We were fine. Sarah sat back down, but no one relaxed. Not one bit. Then Jason started running his mouth again, going on about TikTok shit. Said it could be something from the Appalachian legends, skinwalkers, people who vanish and come back wrong, talking nonsense. I told him to shut the hell up. Said he was watching too many damn videos. Truth was, I watched them too. I just wanted him to stop talking. Then we heard it. Different sound. Dry. Real. Leaves crunching, branch snapping. Something dragging slow. I stood up. Didn't even think. Just got up. Looked out at the woods. Couldn't see a damn thing. Just thick black. But the sound was getting closer. Steady. Like it knew where we were and didn't care how loud it was. Someone muttered that if this was a prank, they'd kill Dean. Think it was Maggie. Sarah didn't say a word, but I could feel how stiff she got next to me. Dean laughed again, half-hearted. Said it was just an animal scrounging around. But he didn't believe it. None of us did. I said I was going inside. And I did. Just like that. I walked into the cabin thinking I'd be alone. But to my surprise, everybody followed. No one said a word. They just came in. Something changed right then. Nobody was laughing anymore, no one joking around. Only sound was the floorboards creaking under our feet. Dean was the last one in. First thing he did was yell asking who the hell left the front door wide open. Thing is, nobody did. Everyone swore they'd shut it. We all glanced at each other, quick. Didn't say much. One of those things you don't want to talk about because it's just off, like the air turned sideways. And yeah, the air actually did change. It got cold, real cold. Not like outside night cold, but a bone-deep kind of chill, heavy, dry. The kind of cold you feel in your teeth. I walked to the back of the house to close the big glass door facing the pool. The garden lights were still on. Pool was calm. Steam rising. Nothing moving. Dead quiet. Nothing looked out of place, but I kept staring, just watching, waiting for something. No clue what, I just did. Then I grabbed the thick curtains and pulled them shut, covered the whole damn door. Saw that in a video once. Folks who live near the woods always say don't leave windows open at night, not even from the inside. And most of all, don't stare too long. We kinda drifted around after that. Didn't know what to do. Ended up sitting in the living room like zombies. Jason and Maggie sank into one of the big couches. Sarah took the other, knees up, arms wrapped around him. Dean was pacing like a caged animal. I stood by the kitchen counter, arms crossed, watching, trying to figure out what the hell was happening. Dean looked pissed. You could see it. He started complaining that the party had barely started and we were all acting like it was bedtime. Said he set it all up. This was supposed to be an epic night and we were blowing it. Sarah didn't take that well. She said we couldn't pretend like we didn't hear what we heard out there. Said nobody was feeling okay after that noise. Said the mood had shifted and wanting to stay inside was normal. Said if he wanted to go swim by himself, go ahead. Dean froze, like she slapped him. Then he snapped, harsh. Told her she was always playing the smart one. Said no one was scared, just her. Told her to stop making a big deal. Before it got worse, I jumped in. Told him she was right. Said it wasn't just her feeling weird, that it wouldn't hurt to chill a little. Dean turned to me, jaw tight. Mind your fucking business, kid. The room went still. He'd never talked to me like that before. Not when he joked around. Not even when he was drunk. That was different. He was different. And then, while that silence was still hanging in the air, the dogs started barking. Out of nowhere. Loud. Panicked. Not just barking like they saw a squirrel. This was full-blown panic. Wild, rabid. We all froze. Looked at each other. Dean threw his hands on his head like he just remembered something awful. Shit. The dogs. Fuck. I forgot. He headed straight for the back door, didn't even think. But Jason jumped up and grabbed his arm. Told him real quiet, but serious, not to go. Said he didn't even know if it was the dogs. Might be something else. A trap. A lure. Who knew? Dean turned and gave him that annoyed smirk he always did. Said Jason was being paranoid. Said nobody was out there using dog sounds to mess with us. Probably just a bear, or a wolf, or some other forest critter. And he wasn't about to let his dad's dogs get ripped up out there. His dad kill him. He was already reaching for the doorknob. I grabbed his arm before he could open it. Didn't think, just did. Told him, calm but firm, look, if you're going, fine. but we're going with you." He didn't say nothing at first, just stared at me like he was caught between pride and relief. Then I asked if his dad still had those big-ass flashlights like the ones for hunting or hiking. He paused, then nodded slow, said yeah. Top cabinet in the kitchen, nodded toward it. I didn't wait, went straight there. Reached up, felt around till I found the box. It was heavy. Inside were 2 flashlights. One was huge handle grip, big battery, looked like it could burn a hole through night. The other was smaller, but still strong enough to fry your retinas. I took both. When I came back, everyone was in the same spot. Sarah standing now, arms folded. Jason looking at the door like it was going to explode. Maggie huddled on the couch. I handed Dean the big light. Kept the smaller one for myself. No one said it out loud. But we were going. At least far enough to see. Dean opened the door with the light already on. Beam was too bright. Almost white. Cut right through the dark like a sword. We walked slow. No one talking. Even inside, nobody said a damn word. Barks were coming from the back pen. Still loud, still scared. The flashlight lit up everything: wet wood, steam rising off the pool edge of the forest. Beyond that, black wall. We crept forward, slow, footsteps creaking on the boards. The kind of quiet that makes your ears ring. Dean aimed the light at the dogs. There they were, both backed into a corner of the pen, pressed together. One was shaking, the other growling, but not looking at anything in particular. Just staring into the woods. Dean whistled, called out. They didn't move. He unlatched the gate. And they bolted, didn't run, fled. Tore past us like something was chasing them. Nails scraping on the deck. They vanished into the house. Dean laughed a little. Holy shit. Relieved. I didn't laugh. I just stood there, holding my flashlight. 'Cause I saw something. Not in front of me in the corner of the light. At the tree line. I dunno. It was like a part of the brush moved, but not from wind. It was still. Something folded up in the dark. Bent. Wasn't a log. Wasn't a shadow either. It was hiding, but not well enough. Then it vanished. Like it curled up and melted into the dark. I aimed my flashlight right at it. Nothing there. Dean asked if I was okay. Said yeah. Told him I thought I saw something. That was a lie. I did see something. I just didn't want to remember it right. We went back inside. The dogs were in the living room, restless. They wouldn't settle down. The girls looked uneasy, you could tell by the way they curled up on the couch. Dean said they wouldn't bite, that they were just scared. Aaron answered, kind of sarcastic, yeah, they're not the only ones. Dean turned right away, irritated, started a dumb argument with him. I wasn't even paying attention. I was somewhere else. What the hell had I seen out there? It looked so familiar. Number. That wasn't it. It was just a shadow. An animal, maybe. Something that drove the dogs crazy. That had to be it. Sarah came up to me and asked if I was okay. I said I was. It came out automatically. She noticed, but didn't insist. While the others were still arguing, the glass door in the back vibrated. No one noticed right away. Then the sound came back, low, soft, but wrong. We froze. Everyone turned toward the same spot. The curtain was still closed. Behind it, just the black of the forest. Total silence. Even the music had stopped without us realizing. Then again 3 knocks. Dry, not violent, gentle, like someone tapping with their fingertips. It wasn't an animal. Dean took a step back, asked out loud who was there. Nothing. He stepped again and asked again, told whoever it was to identify themselves. No answer. I held my breath. My stomach clenched, like my guts had tightened up. Dean asked again, louder. Still no one answered, and the knocking had stopped too. No one had the guts to open the curtains to see what or who it was. Maybe because seeing it would have been worse. This time it was loud. Everyone jumped. The knocking got stronger, faster. It wasn't just the door, it was everywhere. Walls, windows, glass. Like something was circling the cabin and banging on every side. The dogs lost it, barking non-stop, running around the room, deafening. Maggie started crying, whispering over and over, "They're gonna break the glass. They're gonna break the glass." I looked at the kitchen, ran to the drawer, grabbed the first knife I saw. Dean shouted, ran to the couch and started digging through his jacket. He pulled out the thing his dad had given him, a key, and ran to the back. Jason yelled, asking where he was going. Dean just shouted back, "Don't let them in!" We looked at each other. What the hell were we supposed to do? Aaron went toward the window, reaching for the curtain. Jason grabbed his arm, nervous. Told him not to let them see. If you provoke them, it's worse. They'll know you're scared. Aaron backed away. Dean came back. But he wasn't alone. He was holding a hunting rifle, one of those big, heavy ones. Pointed it straight at the window and didn't even look like the same guy. All I could think was that he'd lost his mind. He didn't even glance at me, just laughed and said the crazy ones were the bastards outside, and started shouting at them, telling them to leave or he'd blow their heads off. And weirdly, it worked. The banging stopped. Everything went silent. But not for long. Then, something worse started. A moan, low and drawn out, like several voices at once. It sounded like people trying to breathe without lungs. Raw. Agonizing. Dean told Jason to open the curtain and move out of the way. Jason refused. They started arguing. It wasn't a good time to argue with a guy holding a gun, but no one was thinking straight anymore. I stopped paying attention to them. The dogs were growling, but not at the door. They were staring down the hallway, the same hallway Dean had come from. I looked and I felt it. I didn't see it. I felt it. Something was watching from there. The hallway had enough light spilling in from the living room that I could tell there was nothing visible. And even so, something was looking back. I kept staring. Then, out of nowhere, something moved. Fast. I blinked. The dogs barked and bolted down the hall. I yelled to Dean. He turned just in time to see them heading toward the back. He ran after them. So did I. I don't know why. I just did. Instinct, maybe. Or just plain stupidity. The laundry door was halfway open, and the dogs ran straight out into the woods. Dean went after them. I did too. I still had my smaller flashlight, and I could see him a few meters ahead. The barking was coming from far off. I just wanted to catch up to him, make him turn back. We needed to go back. That's when I smelled it. Metallic, strong, warm. A stench I knew too well. Blood. My flashlight flickered right then. And that's when it got him. Same way as before. 1 second he was there, maybe 6 or 7 meters in front of me, and the next he was gone. Just stopped, like something had grabbed him or swallowed him. I froze. I took one more step, then stopped. Then I heard it. This heavy snorting, deep and close. I turned off my light and dropped behind the first tree I could feel. I stayed there, still. The sky barely had any light left. I could only see a foot in front of me, maybe less. I heard footsteps. Steady, like something big walking on 2 legs. I'm not a religious guy, but right then I prayed to every god I could think of. Just let me get out of here. I only started breathing again when the steps moved away, when all I could hear was my heart smashing in my throat. That's when I saw the light, off in the distance. Yellow fire. For a second I thought it was the others, thought they were out looking for us. But the closer I got, the more I knew it wasn't them. The light got stronger, brighter, more alive. I didn't even have to get that close to know it was something else. What I saw that night, I still can't get it out of my head. I want to say it wasn't real, that I imagined it, but it was there, a big fire right in the middle of a clearing. Dean was there, standing, right in the center. No rifle, just standing still. His eyes were off, empty, dead inside. But that wasn't the worst part. What really messed me up, what made me want to throw up or scream or both, was that there were women there. 5 of them, all of them naked. 2 of them so old their hair looked silver, just hanging down their backs. And my mom was one of them. My grandma, too. What the fuck was this? What was going on? I froze. I wanted to run, scream. I didn't do anything. They started circling Dean. One of them took his shirt off. Another took off the rest. He let them. Just stood there, butt naked, not fighting back. His eyes were still locked on something I couldn't see. My grandma grabbed his arm and started cutting. Right at the shoulder joint. The knife slid through like it was pie crust. I almost puked but held it back. He didn't even scream, just stood there. Another one started on his other arm. Blood went everywhere. Then came the legs, and when those came off, he dropped. I saw one of them grab a leg like it was a stick. The others were drenched in blood. My mum stood behind him, just watching. No emotion, like it was all normal. They were taking him apart, piece by piece, and he never screamed. I heard it all. The tearing, the cracking, the smell was everywhere. That's when I knew. It wasn't the first time they'd done this. And me. I could be next. I went back to the cabin that night. Everybody was still there. I didn't tell them what I saw. I just couldn't. How the hell do you tell someone something like that? I was still trying to wrap my head around it myself, trying to believe it even happened. How do you walk up to the cops and say you saw your mom and your grandma, the only people you got in the whole damn world, tearing someone apart in the woods? And not just anyone. Dean, the kid whose dad trusted us enough to leave that whole place in our hands? No way. So I kept my mouth shut. When I came back, no one asked much right away. I looked pale as hell, shaking. They could tell something went wrong. Jason said he tried the radio to call Dean's dad, but couldn't get a signal. Folks asked some stuff, but I didn't say much. Told him we got split up in the woods. I lost track of him. That's all. That night felt long as hell. Even though it went fast, nobody slept. We just sat there waiting for something. But nothing came. Then, early in the morning, we heard the SUV engine, Dean's dad, coming back to pick us up. The mood was awful. Telling him his son was gone, and not being able to even look him in the eyes. That's something I'll never forget. I felt like shit. Straight up garbage. The cops came, forest rangers, drones, search parties, helicopters. They looked for days. Nothing. Of course they didn't find him. They never will. The dogs showed up 2 days later. Perfectly fine. Not a scratch. Like nothing ever happened. Funny, huh? I lied to everybody. Gave my statement. Said I saw something take Dean in the woods. Big. Fast. Couldn't tell what. Couple weeks later, with no body and no new leads, the cops chalked it up to a bear or some other wild animal. That's what they wrote down. They stopped looking. I never talked to Sarah again, or anyone from that night. Home was worse. Sunday night, after I came back from the station, my mum was waiting for me at the door, arms open, hugged me tight, said she was sorry for what happened, said Dean would show up, said it was all gonna be okay. I just stared at her. It was the same face I saw in that clearing, the same woman that stood there while they cut him to pieces, but now she was smiling, like she hadn't done nothing, like she was just my mom. How does she do that? How do they? Days went by. My grandma kept trying to push that damn deer pie on me. The smell alone made me want to puke. I told her I didn't like it anymore. She looked at me with that blank, sad look. You're growing up, huh, Jimmy boy? That's all she said. She never offered me pie again after that. I tried digging for something. Went through drawers, old boxes, closets. Only when Mum was at work and Grandma was in the shower. But I didn't find nothing. No paper, no clue. Just one thing. I found a picture of my dad. It was stuck in my mom's high school yearbook from when she was 17, the year she got pregnant with me. He was 18. I don't really know why I'm telling all this now. Maybe I just needed someone to know. Tomorrow, I turn 18.